Okay, so I'll stop there. So what Alex is talking about is the next generation of how we understand organizations. I don't think many people have cottoned on to how revolutionary this will be. And he talks about understanding the bigger picture. What's because when we understand that, then we understand how we should run our teams, how we should build our organization. So I thought I'd do a little exercise. And if you've got a pen and paper with you, let's start talking about what that bigger picture looks like. So we're going to do it in a very simple way. And I'm going to take my trusty whiteboard. And what I'm going to ask you to do is to draw your professional network. Now, what do I mean by that? I'm just turn the screen around. I want you in the middle of a piece of paper to just draw a wee dot in the middle and then put me. That's me. Now, around me, Alan, I have a number of people that I talk to regularly. So I'll just put, I've got Gus there, Rod, Joanne, Ryan. So these are all people that I talk to in my network regularly. Pete, wise man, here, and so on. Now, there are also people that I talk to regularly in my professional network. They're not necessarily in sort of my team, and sometimes not even in my organization. So outside of this, I've got people like, say, Mauro, who's an AI specialist, Umar, who is a data scientist, Catherine, who's an amazing business coach, and I won't forget some of the other team that I talk to who we're not in similar worlds, but so I've got Stu, who I bounce a lot of ideas off. So I hope that makes sense. If you can draw that, that would be fantastic. Have a minute or two while I just set up again, and draw your own professional network. So I'm not talking about friends. I'm talking about this network that you have, of partly a team, and partly the people outside of that team that you talk to as well. I'll just share my screen. Get back to that. So we're drawing our professional network. So that's great. It's really a clever and simple thing to do. So as you're drawing, I'm just going to explain. So what Alex is basically saying is that these networks are really networks where idea flow moves through these networks. And what he means by idea flow is the spreading of new behaviors, not just ideas, but habits and behaviors. And it's central to human nature, and it's key to our success as groups. And the first aspect of it is what he calls patterns of engagement, right? So what you've just drawn is a pattern of engagement. Now, I'm just checking everybody can see this okay. Just somebody give me a thumbs up, that would be great. So patterns of engagement. Just making sure. Let me have a look. Yeah, all good. All good. Great. Lovely. So let me just talk about that. What do we mean by patterns of engagement? It means repeated cooperative interactions that build trust and increases the value of a relationship. That then lays the groundwork for the establishment of cooperative behaviors. I'm quoting from Alex. In other words, these patterns of engagement are what build culture. Now, here's the really interesting thing. Emails, messaging, Slack, all of the kind of tools that we use for interacting, particularly with virtual teams. Most of these sort of digital media don't have the social signals associated with face-to-face interactions. So they're very poor at supporting the engagement required to develop great working groups. That is Alex's research, not my opinion. So what I want to share here is that group that you've just talked of, sort of drawn, what are your levels of engagement there? And if the majority of your engagement is through the Slack channel, it is not enough to build a tight, high-performing team. So there is a guy called Bob Kelly from Carnegie Mellon University who did a piece of research. So Bell Labs, back in the day, pre-Google, was the place where all of the greatest innovators kind of hung out. And what Bob did is identified their star performance. So if you could listen closely to this, I'd appreciate it. So the average performer thought that teamwork meant that the team members did their bit for the team. That was their mindset. The star performers, it turned out, their view of teamwork meant joint ownership of goal setting, group commitments and work activities and schedules, and group accomplishments. So it was orchestrated around social decision making. And it turns out that releases natural opiates in the body, this kind of way of working. Now, anyone who's in the agile world, that should sound very familiar. But this is Bob Kelly's research from years back. So it means joint ownership of goal setting, group commitments and work activities and schedules, and group accomplishments. So my question was, how many people here feel that that is their natural operating style, that they operate similar to these star performers in Bell Labs? There's always this sort of 10-second typing pause. Now, while you're typing, I'll just add one more thing on engagements. These are patterns of engagement. This is unearthing what good culture looks like, patterns of engagement. So where this is not healthy is when you've got a exploitative relationship. So the pattern of engagement is either unfair or exploitative. So in hierarchical organizations, command and control organizations, often that relationship is exploitative. And what I mean by that is, it sounds I don't want to take it to the nth degree. It can be as simple as something as simple as, I told you to get this done, just crack on and do it. I am exploiting my position as the manager, and you're just going to have to do it whether you like it or not. So this is when patterns of engagement are unhealthy, and it causes tension and stress and all kinds of good stuff. And when one group dominates another. So this is not just in organizations, this is in societies. We've seen it over and over again. And so what Alex has been able to do is show that there's healthy and unhealthy patterns of engagement. With the Bell Labs research, I'm explaining a healthy pattern of engagement at the team level. So that's the first piece. Now,